Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's backlogbilliam, the man with too many games and not enough time. Now, I decided to try out 4 demos on Steam to see what comes of them. These are games that I've been recommended or demos that I've kind of had sitting on my list for a minute that I've been wanting to play, and I decided let's do a quick little talk about them. These sections won't take too long. I've covered 4 games, alright? So sit back and let's talk about them for a little bit. Alright, so to begin our 4 demos out, we're going to be talking about Wizard Cats by Big Frog Studios. I don't know when this is coming out. I think it could be a next year thing, but this is a roguelite featuring magical cats fighting against what I would assume to be some of their mortal enemies in real life, as well as there's blobs and other types of animals here and there, and there's also frogs in the way as well. But aside from that, when you first start this game out, you can choose a difficulty at the start, and you can roll into a set number of rounds, which is usually 21 from the start, especially from my gameplay. And you got base enemies in a few rounds, and you also got boss areas. You get like a 30-second timer with base enemies to get as many as you can, to get as much money as you can to make the spells that you want, and then you get to go to boss areas to fight those off with the things that you've made. Now, I must say this. It's your standard roguelike. It is very much in tune that just kind of gets you in, get you out, and it's a little chaotic, has keyboard support. But the things I want to talk about involve the systems with your spells. As you're playing as your cat, you get these types of rooms that cover all of your elements, cover all types of firing styles, such as covering like large areas, like large AoEs, straight lines, rapid fires, lock-ons, anything that it has that is in there you can use, and you can buy those rooms and shop as well with the money that you get from the rounds, and you can mix and match and make whatever you want to do, what you need to make it happen. Now, I can say this, it does feel like the enemies kind of pile on you after a while, because you will be taking a lot of damage quick, fast, in a hurry, but there are health pickups as you continue to beat on enemies, and it's not too bad of a deal if I had to say so myself. It's cute, it looks all right to me, and mind you, I'm also not good at keyboard and mouse. Those things are kind of like not necessarily new to me, but it's something I never trained my hands with. I'm very used to a controller in my hands, so it was much more of a challenge, and I think that controller support may be something that'll help this game out. If this game does have controller support, then I didn't know it had it, because it didn't recognize my controller when I was trying to play it. So yeah, but in the art style, I love it. I love the pixelated style. I love it. It's chaotic, and even when you unlock stuff, it looks like Balatro a little bit if you see it as I put it on the screen. I think this could take a little more time in the oven for them. I have nothing really super strong against it. I just need a little bit more polish on this game. It was recommended to me by a streamer that I found one night. I was watching her stream and we were talking about games, and she mentioned a roguelike that she was talking about, and she looked it up and she told me about it, and I decided to try this demo out. And so far, I think it's okay, and I don't know much about the dev cycle or anything about the dev team, so that's a little over my head. But there is some things I read in the reviews that are placed currently on this game, and there was mention of artificial intelligence being used for the spell crafting system when you're making your spells. I don't know how true that is. Like I said, I haven't followed the dev cycle on this game, not once, but I need to understand how that works, because I don't consider that too good of a look in my eyes. I mean, I get it. It helps, like, I mean, at least they're not doing nothing nefarious with it or anything like that. Maybe there's a little bit of cleanup with how the spell system works if they want to continue to do it, but I do think Wizard Cats has some type of promise behind it. Hopefully it doesn't get lost in the long river of roguelikes that we have all across Steam and PlayStation and other consoles. I think it could be fun. Just add controller support. For our next game, we'll be talking about Altered Alma, developed by 2 awesome studios. Now, this right here is a cyberpunk-based Metroidvania game. You assume the role of the character Jack, who is falling from the top to the very rock bottom because the privileged organization that they have doesn't like the fact that they made a decision on their own and chose not to do something that they wanted. So now Jack has a humongous target on their back. So that's where the story kind of goes from there. And just to get it out there, if you know what Metroidvania is played, like if you play Symphony of the Night, hell, even Hollow Knight at this point, you know what a Metroidvania is. Like, if you go from point A to point B, then if you can't get past something in point B, you gotta go somewhere else to get this power to come back and do the same. It's just a different art style, but it's all set in a new locale, and I like this locale. Now, for the gameplay, It's kind of flashy. It's kind of here and there, you know what I'm saying? You got the standard attacks, but there are also dashes and dodges and parries included within the combat. There's an upgrade system as well for the character as long as you can find the designated spots where you can install said upgrades. There's even a fast travel system that can take you all across the setting of Neo Barcelona. And the art of this game is very nice with the cyberpunk aesthetic. The one thing I will say that makes this game stand out a bit in the Metroidvania genre is that there is a relationship system. So for those wanting the Metroidvania with something extra, this has it. You get a chance to talk to other NPCs in the game and garner relationships with them, especially those who are important to you. So there's quite a bit of lore and maybe some world building to be had here if you sit down with these characters and just get to learn all about them. This game does have controller support, and I'm very much cool with this. I am patiently awaiting the release of this game as I'm a huge fan of the genre, and I do have plenty of other Metroidvanias in my backlog, and I'm super willing to add this to it as well because I know it's going to be a game that I will get to in due time. So yeah, I don't have much negative to say about this one either, but I think it has a lot of upside for when it gets ready to come out. Alright, so for our third game here, we'll be talking about another Metroidvania. This time, it's called Vampire's Veil, developed by Fairy Cave Studio. It's another Metroidvania game, but this time we're actually in the shoes of the vampires instead of the hunters. A really weird turn of events here. You take control of Celine, who is a servant under Lord Damien Thorn, who is our Dracula for this game. Her task is to basically bring back offerings to him, just as well as the other servants that Damien Thorn has under his wing. But along the way, the hunters find a way to foil them with a tainted drink as they are celebrating their victories that they've gotten. Get Celine and the other servants of Damien locked away while he gets a chance to escape thanks to Celine. But now that Damien has set you free and you're weaker than before, it's time to get Celine back into shape and to get the rest of the crew back as well. Now, like I said before, it's a Metroidvania, so you know what you get, you know what the idea is. You know, go from point A to point B. If you can't get past something, you come back and do it again. But with this here, I have to say I love the way that this game animates. I love its color palette, and I love how well Celine animates as well in movement. The combat is pretty simple. It's 3-piece attacks. There's magic to be used. She has healing bats. She has quite a few things up her arsenal, so that way things can, you know, play the way you need them to play. But what I love so much about this game is that when you first start it, at least in this demo, you basically get full power Celine at the start. Like, she has the most health, she has the most healing bats, she has her magic in place, and she can just do whatever she needs to do. She has a good chunk of her abilities on hand, but then it takes that away from you and has you go right back to the beginning to get yourself back into order. I love that, especially with these cutscenes that they have on the in-between that lets you know what's going on piece by piece. I do love the strong about notes from people in the village within the world and in parts of the Alchemist Codex, which is also a part of this demo, that kind of builds the world up. It brings out some of the world that you're dealing with. A story in a Metroidvania for me is something I don't mind having. It gives me a reason to enjoy what's happening alongside the gameplay, and it plays very well. It runs well. It does everything I need it to do. But I do have one gripe, and I don't know if this was just on my end or not. I don't. But when I got to this Aurora boss fight, it felt like my controller randomly stopped working in that fight. I'm sure it may be more of a tech thing on my side compared to the game itself. So I'm not going to say it's the game that caused that issue. Maybe it's something that was wrong on my end. But when I got to the second phase of the fight, all of a sudden my controller just went haywire. Like, nothing worked and my controller vibrated furiously until I died again. And then I regained my control back. And like, my presses were coming out like extremely delayed. I couldn't finish the fight, sadly. I couldn't. But what I played of this demo, minus this little incident here happening, I enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to Vampire's Veil hitting that digital storefront, so that way I can play it, because I would love to stream it, actually, truthfully, because it's a game that I like. I really do think it has a lot of upside and a lot of promise to it. So Fairy Cave Studio, I'm looking out for you. Just know that. Alright, so this is our final game for this listing here. We're going to be talking about Last Moon, developed by Skull Studios. Now, so far from what I've played of Last Moon, I think this has high potential. You play as this unnamed hero who awakens from this red crystal as a disembodied voice calls out to you. You come back to the world looking bleak as the moon seems to have exploded, and now things are very much different. But now that you've risen from your crystal casing, it's time to learn what happened here. Now this does give very good old school vibes of like old Zelda, Link to the Past Zelda, with a tiny taste of some Chrono Trigger maybe. But these visuals, I have to say, have gotten some amazing effort put into them. The soundtrack is good too. I think this will sit well with quite a few people who've been looking for something Link to the Past adjacent. And I have to say, I think the gameplay is solid. I didn't feel too bad about it at all. The exploration is pretty good to me. It teaches you everything you need to know when necessary. You pick up weapons along the way. The combat is very reminiscent of Link to the Past, and possibly even the Secret of Evermore and the Mana games on the SNES. Now, you will find people that are there to help you as well with the upgrades and fixing your weapons, making sure you have the right skills, gaining these things here and there. And at least through the hour of this demo that I played, it does a lot right. I think I don't have any major gripes about how everything is with the game. It has moments of the story being told to you when you find the important landmarks or items. And to pay this game a solid compliment from a very good friend of mine, because I told her about it, and I think that she may like it. She said it's like the Mana art came to life. So Skull Studios, I have to say, if you like that compliment, I'm pretty sure it's a pretty high compliment. So yeah, I think you have a possible hit on your hands right here, right now. So keep working on this and make this as good and as polished as possible. I had no issues playing this demo through. I'll wait your release date. Alright, so there's 4 demos I give y'all a quick little rundown of. I hope you enjoyed that video. I intend on having more demos as more new stuff comes out. I know we got the Game Awards getting ready to come around the corner and everything. I'll be probably discussing that on the podcast. No Level Cap, we put up every Monday. So by all means, come check us out over there and keep up with me. Like, comment, and subscribe. I love you. Take care. It's been Bill. By all means, y'all. Peace.